It's one of the hardest fighting, most sought after game fish in the world. The Silver King can be caught throughout the entire state of Florida. This week, we are talking tarpon here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
Welcome to a very special Keys edition of the Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm your host, Brie Gabrielle, and filling in for Rick in the studio is our very own Northeast Region Captain, Tommy Derringer. Good to have you, Tommy.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
It's always good to look up to somebody once in a while.
Oh, man.
All right, we also have Dave back with us this week at the CCA Workbench.
Rick's going to love that one.
I know.
He's going to really like it.
Got to do it. What do you got for us today, Dave?
We got Tommy. We're going to talk to Tommy about how to catch tarpon up where he lives. So I really don't have to do much except feed him questions.
Perfect.
Just feed the monkey, watch it crap.
Perfect. We're talking tarpon with Tommy. I love it. All right, now you all might be wondering where Captain Rick is, so let's say hi to him, Sarah Amelia and Captain Randy Tao, who are hanging out at the beautiful Ocean Point Suites in Key Largo. Hi, guys. How's it going down there?
You're absolutely right, Bree. We're here in the bottom of Key Largo, Ocean Point Suites. And you know, it's such a beautiful place to be back in the Florida Keys. I'm with my good buddy Randy Tao, our captain for the Florida Keys region, and Sarah Malia. And you know what, guys, it's just so awesome to be in the Florida Keys and seeing, you know, we got a little weather around us, but you know what? The Keys are open. And as you guys know, it is such a great recovery. 85% of all the lodging is back online. And that includes RV parks as well as a lot of the restaurants and whatnot. But as you get further down into the Keys, 95% or so of the restaurants and as well as the hotels are taking reservations as we talk. So the cool part about the Keys is it's really thriving, and it's the beautiful time of year to be down here. The tarpon fishing is just getting started, as well as the dolphin fishing. But you know, Sarah, a lot of the attractions are open as well.
You're exactly right, Rick. Most of the bars, restaurants are now open, as well as the marinas, sport fishing, water sports. So make sure you guys start booking now. And right, Randy?
You know, accommodations are key to come here. Whether you're staying in a hotel, renting a house, I would highly recommend doing your homework, making reservations before you come. Because if you get here looking for a place, you may not find a place to stay, especially weekends and holidays.
Now, you know, Sarah, you grew up in the Florida Keys, so why don't you tell me about that?
Yep, I was fortunate enough to grow up down here in the Florida Keys. My parents still have a house down in Marathon, so I come down as often as I can. And it was great living down here, being surrounded by the water, being able to go fishing and diving whenever I wanted. And for people who love the outdoors and love the water like me, I definitely recommend the Keys is the perfect place to come.
You know, Randy, you've been here, living here a long time. So, you know, let's talk about your experience.
You know, over 30 years, Rick, I've been down here, and last week you and I had a great experience tarpon fishing. We were local around the bridges where they've been biting good, and we had an exceptional day. And I had caught quite a few. You didn't do so good, but the next day we had a little meeting that night, and
That's
you
right.
rallied the second day and had a big day like old times.
Hey, you know, local knowledge is everything, and I appreciate the help. But you know what? We are talking about tarpon, so why don't you tell us about the tarpon fishing in the Keys?
Okay. Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, the tarpon bite right now is really strong, and around the bridges right now there's plenty of tarpon you're going to find. Live mullet is still your best bet. Now, early morning, late afternoon has been kind of key for the best fishing. During the middle of the day, it's not that it's real hot right now, but it's still a tougher time than early morning or late in the afternoon. The bridges, you can anchor up, you can drift with the tide. Depending on the conditions, that's going to be key. Right now we've got a full moon going, so the tides are pretty strong, so you want to definitely you know, adjust accordingly. You know, it's also May, it's fly fishing time. These tarpon are migrating down the coast, and the fly fishing guys look forward to that. It's only a couple of months where we get these big schools in clear water that you can fly fish for, and right now they're coming down really good, so you're going to get plenty of shots. If you're a fly fisherman, I would highly recommend getting on that program to have a lot of shots. Speaking of fly fishing, Captain Jake Jordan, who fly fishes at night, kind of sounds crazy, but he does this at night. He picks his tides and he catches a lot of tarpon, especially for first-time anglers, and maybe that's a good thing, but I've got a photo that he sent me of one of the recent tarpon.
All right, well, let's go inshore. Randy, what else you got?
Permit. You know, the permit bite's been strong the last few months. Guys have been catching them on the reef and on some of the wrecks. We talked about them migrating in big schools. Now they're starting to push inshore a little bit. We've got the moon right now. We've got strong tides, high tides. That's when you're going to find these fish cruising on top of the flats on that higher stage of the tide, and you're going to get your shots. If you have that during the middle of the day, that's even key with that good visibility. Captain Pablo Rodriguez with Slam Time Charters out of Marathon, he's very good at catching these things and knowing where to be, and he's got a nice permit with his customers here.
All right, well, let's go offshore.
Dolphin. You know, this time of year, tarpon, dolphin show up at the same time. 600 feet on out, you might find something closer. Be aware of your surroundings. Look for birds, look for debris, look for weeds. All of these things are going to be key signs to find a dolphin. You might find the bait and the dolphin aren't too far behind them, so be ready. I like to troll when I get out there with some ballyhoos and have my spinning rods ready so that when I get into the dolphin bite, I can catch quite a few of them at one time, and hopefully that big one swims up. Captain Brian Cohn on his boat, the Contagious, out of Robbie's Marina. He's our dolphin expert. He catches more dolphin than anybody, and he sent me this picture of his angler, Bruce Walters, with Michael Adderley's with a 37-pounder they caught a few days ago.
Wow, that's a big fish. All right, what else you got offshore, Randy?
Blackfin tuna. You know, it goes together. You're already offshore, you're looking for dolphin. You're not far from the offshore humps. That's where we find most of our tunas right now. Early morning, late afternoon is the best time, and that low light condition really favors the bite to be a lot stronger. Now down in Key West, they do it a little bit different. Those guys will fish wrecks and they'll also fish behind the shrimp boats. And I've got a picture from Chris Trossett he had sent me with his angler, Michael Millette, with a big blackfin tuna they caught on fly behind the shrimp boat in Key West.
All right, Randy, thank you so much. Great report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Captain Randy says inshore permit. Look on the top of the flats on the high part of the tide. Now remember, the full moon tides are going to be stronger and higher than normal. And then offshore dolphin, looking 600 feet of water for the birds and weeds. Have your spinning rods rigged and ready before you find the fish. Now, you know, Sarah, we have to do tournaments every week, and we're going to talk about them now. What's going on in the Keys?
We have some exciting new tournaments coming up. We have the Nick Sheehan Dolphin Rodeo, May 4th through the 6th in Isla Mirada. And this honors the memory of the late Florida Keys student with angling contests that benefit a college scholarship fund. We also have the Marathon Offshore Bull and Cow Dolphin Tournament, May 3rd through the 6th in Marathon. This guarantees a grand prize of $10,000 to the team that catches the largest bull and cow dolphin fish combined. The Skipper's Dolphin Tournament, June 1st through the 3rd in Key Largo. The first place team is awarded $20,000 in cash with additional prizes given for 2nd through 6th place. The Big Pine and Lower Keys Dolphin Tournament, June 1st through the 3rd, is in Big Pine, and it's set for it's presented by the Lower Keys Chamber of Commerce. There's more than $35,000 in cash and prizes and awards. And we're going to go to Andy to talk about the featured tournament.
Well, hi guys. Rick, great to have you an insider in the Florida Keys this week. The annual Mother's Day Dolphin Tournament's coming up next weekend in Marathon. Captain's meeting Friday, May 11th, followed by the fishing competition on Saturday, May 12th. Cash and retail prizes are awarded for the heaviest dolphin caught in 4 different angler categories. But the best thing, all proceeds benefit Habitat for Humanity of the Middle Keys. More details at habitatmiddlekeys.org. And for more information on all tournaments and travel planning to the Florida Keys, go to flakeys.com.
Well, thank you so much, Andy. And you know what? We're going to come back and we're going to actually give away a trip with yours truly and a stay here at Ocean Point Suites. A little later in the show, we'll announce that winner of our great contest. But you guys, back in the studio, you guys got to get to work. Enough time's been taken off.
Yes, we do. Looks like they're having fun down there. And did you see the birds? Cue the birds. That was perfect.
That was
Perfect timing.
Perfect
All right.
timing.
Well, they look like they're having fun, but we have to get back to business up here. So somewhere else, the Tarpon is on fires in the Bell's Southwest region, and Captain Ronnie Houston is going to tell us how and where to bow. Hi, Ronnie.
Well, good evening, guys, and it's truly a pleasure having Tommy Derringer in the house tonight. You know, the tarpon can be caught both inshore and offshore all throughout the region, but they're mostly targeted off the beaches, passes, residential canals, and brackish water feeder creeks and spillways. Now, fish only move south to north, starting from the Broad River to Boca Grande, which has actually been going on for the last month. So what you want to do is look for these fish now as we speak in the passes and out to depth, up the beaches, and out to depths up to 20 feet. Now, when the wind blows real hard, fish seem to disappear, but once the weather gets better, they seem to show up again. That's just tarpon fishing. But I can tell you, in the rainy months, you can find plenty of smaller fish in the backwater, feeder creeks and residential canals and spillways in big numbers, but the hookup ratio is a lot less due to the smaller fish and their acrobatic antics. But baits to catch them on are plentiful. Live mullet, ladyfish, herring, and pinfish. Cut baits work very good when you get around those fish that don't want to participate eating the live baits or artificials. But the artificials are to include topwater plugs, bucktail jigs, 4 to 6 inch swim baits, lip plugs, and a variety of flies. But if you're looking to catch your first tarpon, now's the time to get out and do it as they're moving from south to north. And the average size right now is 60 to 150 pounds. And I've got some recent picks. One up to the north to Captain Danny Latham with a nice tarpon release. And I've got another picture of Maverick Pro Staff, William Faulkner, down in the southern end, doing what he does best, catching them on fly. Now, still on the inshore side, we're going to talk about the snook. Due to the low water levels in the Everglades backcountry, it has been good both on the outside and inside, being that we haven't got a lot of rain. Now, on the windy days, when you can't fish the outer Gulf points, the backcountry is holding a good number of fish along points with current, feeder creeks, and the main channel runs in between the bays. Now, on the outside, they want to use topwater skitter walks, walk the dog lures, and bone chartreuse or bone chartreuse, silver spoons, and live pilchards. But in the backcountry, you want to concentrate on using flies, lip plugs, prop baits, chuggers, and the Bass Assassin Die Dapper and Snowdorm, Houdini, and Mama's 14K. Average size is 22 to 34 inches. And I have a picture of a gentleman I just fished a couple days ago by the name of Pete, using that bait for the first time, Mama's 14K, 5-inch Die Dapper. We caught a bunch of snook by using that bait. Now, on the offshore side, we want to concentrate on the permits. The bite still remains good from Gordon's Pass to Indian Key, fishing wrecks 8 to 20 miles out by either drifting or anchoring over the structure using live crabs. Now, guys, this is generally a run-and-gun bite when you're just strictly fishing for the permits. Patience has to be the key. So you can use the crabs either free-line or just add a little weight to figure out where they are in the water column. And I've got a picture of a couple contender guys that are familiar with Mr. Murphy while fishing with Captain Dan Bark up on the northern end of the region. And the last species we're going to talk about is the triple tail. The bite has been good from Redfish Pass to Wiggins Pass along markers, wrecks, crab pots, and swim buoys. This is also a run-and-gun bite. Moderate weather is better. When the wind blows, it's kind of tough, and it's not very easy to catch them. Look to sight cast the fish using live shrimp, pilchards, 3 to 4 inch soft plastics. And if you feel you cannot sight fish them with accuracy, cast the cork in the area where the fish are and pop the cork to draw the fish away from the structure. This will also help you become a better angler. And the weather should be getting better towards the weekend. We got a blow most of the week, so we're looking for better things towards the weekend. And I know things are going to go good tonight, especially with Dave Ferrell in the house.
Thanks, Captain Ronnie. Great report as always. Here are the Calusa cast net hotspots for the Southwest region. Trout, Rabbit Key to Bird Key, fishing grass flats in depths of 2 to 4 feet using noise-making corks or root beer paddle tails on a jig head. The clean water is a must. And offshore, cobia, Marco to Fort Myers Beach, fishing wrecks and artificial reefs 6 to 25 miles out using large live baits.
All right, well, we want to also mention the 3rd annual CCA Homestead Banquet and Auction on Thursday, May 17th at Schnebley's Winery in Homestead at 6 p.m. Rick and I have been every year, and it's always a fun time while supporting a great cause. I don't know if you've ever been to a CCA banquet, but they're a lot of
great.
fun.
They're really fun.
Yeah. It's always good. All right, get your tickets now at ccaflorida.org. The Central West region is coming up next, but I think we need a little bit of Dave Ferrell first at the CCA workbench for some rigs and techniques, tarpon style. Right, Dave?
That's right. We're going to get Tommy back here behind the bench, and he's going to tell us how to catch tarpon up in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Ooh, Tommy.
I don't know how to catch tarpon in St. Augustine.
Tommy's up. He's your man. Stick
He's
around
gonna tell
because we also will be checking in with Rick for more fun in Key Largo, and we'll be right back here on the Florida
Insider
Fishing Report. Wow, you catch on quick.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet. And Sea Sucker. Get pumped.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
And this month, it's invoice pricing for everyone.
That's right, you pay what we pay.
Get a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan for only $26,500.
No games, no gimmicks, just hassle-free buying at low, low, low prices.
Check us out now at harbortrucks.com and enter to win a 2018 Nissan Titan XD 4x4 diesel.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now going to take a look at the FWC news and notes. May 5th, there's a kids fishing clinic in Pensacola. May 12th, there's another kids fishing clinic in Fernandina Beach. And May 18th is the Sebastian Inlet PS boating course. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now let's head to the CCA workbench for some rigs and techniques.
Well, we're here at the workbench with Tommy Derringer down from
Yes,
St.
sir.
Augustine
Yes, sir.
area. And you catch a lot of tarpon up there. A lot of people don't know that you can catch tarpon all the way from one end of the state to the other.
We do, you know, we catch a lot of tarpon and we catch some really big tarpon.
Yeah, that's...
Catch some really big fish up there. So it's, yeah, tarpon fishing's good up that way.
That's what I'm after. If I'm after a tarpon, I'll tell you a big one.
Small ones are fun too.
Well, when you're up there, where do you guys start out? When's your season and everything?
It could start as early as this month. Usually by the end of this month, we start seeing some of those bigger fish move in along the beaches. And that's this time of year, moving into middle summer. Then we get into the later summer, the bigger mullets start to move in, and we'll fish some of the inlets and a little bit more inshore. Those big fish tend to stay out on the beach until those big mullets show up.
So are you just using the bait that you're catching them around?
Yeah.
Like if it's pogie time, you use pogies?
Pogie time, use pogies. If there's mullet around, use mullet. Although sometimes you can switch it up a little bit if both are around, just to see, you know, sometimes something a little different might look good to them too.
I gotcha. But live bait is really what you're going to use most of the time?
Live bait is going to work most of the time.
What kind of gear you use? I see you got a 20-pound spinning rod kind of.
Yeah, so you can use some conventional gear, but I like to be able to be ready to make a cast. So I'll use a pretty heavy spinning outfit, use 30-pound, 40-pound braid to maybe a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader if the water's clear. If it's not so clear, you can beef it up to 60, 80-pound leader. If you're fishing behind those shrimp boats, which is another really fun thing to do for those tarpon in St. Augustine or in all of Northeast Florida, you can beef it up to 100-pound, or some guys even use wire.
Because when they're just snacking in the chum,
they
don't
fired
care.
up, man. They're eating anything that they can get their mouths on. So, start off low, light. If it's clear water, if it's nasty, murky water, just beef it up.
And you're gonna use a circle hook?
Using a circle hook, I like to use a VMC. This is the 7385 circle hook. And then just make the size kind of appropriate to the bait you're using. If you're using a big giant mullet, you might use a 10 or 12-aught, maybe even.
Well, I snelled that one. Do you usually use a snell or use a loop?
I like to use a loop knot, and it's personal preference. A lot of people like the snell. From what I've always heard, and I've had really good success with that loop knot, it seems to get them right in the right spot. But circle hook is the way to go, no matter how you tie it on there.
I got you. Well, I see you have a slip shot on there too, a split shot.
Right.
Now, what are you using that for? Are you trying to keep the bait in a certain place in the water column, or?
Yeah, so I use these big split shots because it's easy to change it up. So when we're fishing those pogie pods, if you're wanting to get underneath the pogies, you can add a couple of these big split shots, maybe a foot or two above the hook or the bait.
Right.
And then, if they start getting up to the surface and feeding again, you can take them right off and pitch it to them. It's pretty versatile. I don't use a swivel or anything. I keep it simple.
You just wind it on in?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and that's split shot. It makes it really easy to change your presentation really quick, which you need to do in tarpon fishing.
Now, are you hooking them up through the lips, or are you hooking them in the back, these baits, or does it matter?
It matters. I think, you hook them through the back. Sometimes they'll swim down a little better, or towards the tail behind that dorsal fin. And then through the lips if you're up towards the top. But usually for me, it's either through the lips or through the nose.
I gotcha. Now, there's some artificial stuff out here. This is the kind of thing that you're using. You said that some fellows will pitch a hoagie bait at them.
Yeah, I've used these hoagies a few times. They're, I don't know what that's supposed to look like. We were talking about that earlier,
Yes,
but the tarpon seem to like it.
I guess it could be anything from an eel to a 6 or 8 inch little whiting or something, or a croaker, I guess it could look like.
So, this one's rigged weightless and weedless. You don't really need the weedless, but the weightless is going to keep it up top if those fish are up top.
Right.
They also make it where, it's got
they've got
a heavier jig head here. So if the fish are down below the bait that you're fishing, that's going to be a great bait.
And I was surprised there that you had that guy out here.
The bait buster?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so this bait, I think it works pretty much everywhere in Florida. There's tarpon. Everybody
it
you
works
talk
for
to,
everything, really.
It really does. But the thing you got to do with this is keep it simple again.
Right.
Cast it out, reel it straight in. You don't want to really jig it too much. Those tarpons seem to really key on it in the bait when it's just going straight.
Right.
So just cast it and reel it. Don't jig it too much.
Yeah, Captain Bouncer Smith showed me that one time. He says, just throw that mirror lure out there and reel it back to the boat. Don't jig it, don't move it, just roll it straight.
Keep it simple.
That's right.
That's the best way to do it.
Well, thanks, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
It can't be that. Don't tell me. It can't be that easy. Just keep it simple.
Just reel it back.
Just reel it.
Reel it back.
All right, up next we have your Captain Jeff Page from the Startron Central West region, who's done some tarpon fishing in his time. So, Page, tell us what you know.
How y'all doing? In the Startron Central West region, plenty of tarpon and plenty of ways to catch them. Starting down south, probably the most famous, Boca Grande Pass for the Silver King. But just inside the pass, the mouth of the Peace and the Mayaca River and the middle of the harbor itself are holding lots of tarpon right now. And they're starting to show up as early as April and right through September. Good pattern of catching them, live ladyfish, live silver mullet, or big threadfin. A lure that works real well, Tommy and Dave were just talking about, the DOA bait buster in the tarpon model. Then moving back out the pass, the guys in the pass this time of year pretty much are deep water jigging with the breakaway jigs. But if you go south or north down that beach, you're going to find good pods of fish that you can throw. Live crabs, live threadfins. Sometimes you want to cork them. Sometimes you want to just let them free line. Also pinfish. As we work down the beach, every pass you come to is going to have a sandbar out in front of it, and that's a great place in front of every pass that you can throw fly at laid up tarpon on the bar. They won't be in groups of 100, but they can be in groups of 5 and 6. Great place you can throw fly at them. This goes on throughout the summer. And then as the migratory fish move on, but we still have a lot of residential fish that'll push back up to the mouths of the rivers, and you have a good fall bite. Again, live ladyfish and DOA bait busters. I have a photo tonight of Austin Wright with a tarpon he caught with his brother, Captain Clark Wright of the Wright Stuff. Staying inshore, species 2, redfish. You know what? Redfish bite remains consistent. I wouldn't say it's off the chain, but I've had reports up north around Fort DeSoto and down south, as far south as Cayo Costa. There's a pattern that seems to be working on this full moon high tide that we've had. Is once the tides get high, the fish are getting up around the oyster bars and the mangrove shorelines. Guys are throwing cut ladyfish or live 3-line pilchards or pinfish tied to the bars, and they're catching them. Now, when the tides are lower, look for these same fish laying out off the edges in the potholes and the drop-offs of the bars. We fished the CCA All-Release Challenge this weekend, and that was what we did. We threw saltwater assassin golden brim sea shad in the 4-inch sea shad on a 1/4-ounce stick head, and we did real well. So that's the redfish bite. I've got a photo tonight of Vic Cook of Live Target Lures. He was one of my anglers in the tournament, and we had the little fisher girl, Ada Polly, there helping him out.
Oh, hey, Ada.
Nice job, Jeff. What you got offshore?
Offshore, mangrove snapper. You know, we just come off this full moon, Tommy and Bree, and a mangrove snapper bite heated up over the hard bottom areas and ledges, 60 to 90 feet of water, live pinfish, cut sardines, or live shrimp on a 1/4 to 3/8 ounce jig head's been working good, and the snappers are averaging 2 to 6 pounds. I have a photo tonight of Captain Billy Nobles of Real Animals Radio with a real nice snapper he got last week. And finally, our permit bite. I know it's a broken record, but the permit fishing probably remains the most consistent offshore bite we have going right now in the Central West region. Guys are targeting them very easy as long as they have the crabs. 2 to 12 permit a trip is a normal trip, and most of the fish are averaging 15 to 30 pounds. And my last photo tonight is of Shannon Stianlinsky, that she caught a nice permit with her boyfriend, Captain Brian Alcorn at Cortez, Florida. The weather looks good this weekend, you guys, so get out and go fishing.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Here are the hot spots for the Daiquiri Deck Central West region. Snook inshore, good nighttime snook in and around the ICW bridges between Englewood and Venice. And offshore, lots of permit holding on the reefs and wrecks off Anna Maria.
A broken record about permit, I think I can handle that.
I want to go catch some permit.
I do too. I love catching those things. All right, since we're talking tarpon, let's talk about CCA Florida Star's new division, the Humminbird Tarpon Division. And the winner takes home a $10,000 prize package that includes a humminbird, mink coda, and a tarpon trip with one of the FIFR captains. Leader releases of tarpon are encouraged, and regardless of size, all tarpon pictures must be taken with the fish in the water next to the star measurement device, or the leader anglers are allowed to grab the tarpon by the lip for the photograph with their hand only. Tarpon entries will be disqualified if an angler reaches through the fish's gills at any time or brings the tarpon over the gunnel of the boat. So go to www.ccafloridastar to register and for more information. How about that? Lots of rules. Lots of rules, but you know, if you win, it's going to be worth it, trust me. The east and southeast regions are swimming your way next, so stay hooked, and we'll be right back on the Florida Insider Fishing Report with more reports and much more from Rick and the crew in Key Largo.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, any fish, any water, since 1958. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sailfishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
So welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and with me is Adrian from Ocean Point. And Adrian, you know, what a beautiful place. The cool part about the Florida Keys, you get a little sun shower, cools everything off like we've experienced in here. But let's talk about the resort.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you here, Rick. Ocean Point Suites is back open. We just completed a full renovation of the resort. We provide 1 and 2 bedroom suites, each with a full kitchen, a living room, a dining room, and a private balcony overlooking the ocean. For the boaters, we have a deep water marina with access to wet slips, as well as an on-site boat ramp and ample boat trailer parking.
You know, I noticed that we've got a lot of boat slips, big and small, so I would imagine we can accommodate a big center console like the Contender.
Oh, absolutely. We can accommodate boats up to 28 feet, and kind of a neat thing about our property is that we're located at the south end of Key Largo, so it allows for great access to both Key Largo and Isla Mirada fishing and diving spots. Additionally, we're just a couple minutes away from Tavernier Creek, so if you want to scoot over to the backcountry and do some fishing, you can do that as well.
You know, the cool part is that I've caught a lot of bonefish on both sides of your channel. Certainly, we have Rodriguez Key to the north, and we have Tavernier Key to the south. And whether you're an offshore enthusiast or a backcountry enthusiast, a flats fisherman, we really got it going on here. So, do we have weekly rentals, daily rentals? Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. You can rent as little as 1 day or as long as you want to stay here in Paradise. Our property is set on a 60-acre sanctuary. We also, in addition to our accommodations in our marina, we have a junior Olympic-sized pool. We got a private sandy beach, 2 bars, a restaurant, nature trails, everything you're looking for in a Florida Keys vacation experience.
Now, you know, restaurants are certainly a very big part of being in the Florida Keys. So if we catch some snappers, let's say we go out to the reef here, we catch some beautiful snappers or even dolphin this time of year, can we take it upstairs and get it cooked?
Absolutely, as long as they call me as well, so I can try a little bit of it.
What's your favorite way to have it there, Adrian?
You know, I go old-fashioned. Just give me some blackened mahi, nice and simple, some good size, and I'll be all right.
I like your style. So if guys have questions about Ocean Point, how can they find out more information?
Absolutely, they can log on to opsuites.com, and we look forward to having them down here back in Paradise, as we talked about earlier, back open here in the Keys. We'd love to see everybody down here.
Well, we certainly appreciate you having us. Look forward to staying here myself. I think I'm going to come back with Kathy and the boys, because one of my favorite tarpon spots is right here, just outside of your channel. But we're not going to tell anybody that, right?
Absolutely not.
Maybe a little late. But you know what, Brie? We've got some more stuff to do, so take it away.
Yes, we do. And we will be down there as well, right, Tommy?
Yeah,
I didn't hear an invite for us. It looks beautiful. All right, if you guys want tarpon in the East region, we've got them, but you may want to save your efforts for about 3 weeks from now, right, Mike?
That's the truth, Brie. You know, like the main migration of tarpon, those fish that come out of the Keys and work their way up the coast, that usually takes place in June and early July. But, you know, we've already got the first of our local tarpon starting to show up. Most of them are in the deep canals, like Big Mud Creek and the moorings, Harbor Branch Canal. We'll also have fish in the inlets right now, from right now all the way through the fall, as well as around the locks and spillways throughout the region. And then, you know, there's a big school of fish that I heard about, say 500 fish or so that are down there off Palm Beach Inlet. So we're starting to see schools gang up around the inlets and move towards their summer haunts. And for those arbitrarily rolling fish, you know, you can put a couple of live mullet out the back of the boat, put them on a 6.0 VMC tournament circle hook and a 60-pound fluorocarbon leader, and just slow troll them around, kick them in coda down, use your motor, and just kind of move around. and then have a guy on the bow casting the fish with a 1/4 ounce saltwater assassin, 4-inch shad in either Houdini or Mama's 14K colors. And then around the inlets, you just float a live mullet or a pilchard or a threadfin out the inlet with the tide. And the fish on the beaches, the same baits that work, a pilchard, a mullet. Might throw a live crab in that mix. Average tarpon right now is going to be 40 to 80 pounds. I got a photo there. That's Andy Bagwell. He released that early season tarpon. He was fishing with Captain Chris Britton of Jensen Beach, and that fish ate a live mullet in the Indian River. The other thing, we're starting to see a lot more larger snook pushing towards the inlets from the backcountry and from offshore. You still want to see that best fishing ramp up probably on the next full moon or the next new moon, around the inlets. That'll happen. The bridges close to the inlets, the beaches, and the piers. Right now, we're starting to see those southeasterly winds that push a bait fish and minnows close to shore and inside the inlets. And at the same time, the local mullet populations are kind of coming out of the backcountry and working towards the inlet. So that means, the snook are moving off of shrimp and onto more of a steady bait fish diet. So if you know that, you want to throw bait fish. You can start your morning throwing topwater plugs or dye dappers or swimming or waking plugs or shadtail grubs, anything that looks like a bait fish. And then once the sun gets up and the fish get a good look at lures, you want to switch over to live bait, either an 8-inch mullet or a live pilchard or sardine or cigar minnow. Toss them up along the shoreline near the inlets or around the bridges, or if the weather's nice, move outside on the beaches north and south of the inlet, say within 500 yards of the inlet, and you'll find those larger males and second-year females, maybe even pick a slot fish out of the mix. Average snook right now is 4 to 13 pounds, but I've seen them to 22 pounds this week.
Nice. What do you get offshore for us, Mike?
Well, the king mackerel have moved into my region really strong. They're being caught throughout the whole region, from the Vero Cove all the way south to Boynton Inlet. I have reports of fish on the offshore bar out of Fort Pierce, the Sandpile and Stewart, the Kingfish Hole, the Loran Tower Ledge. But by far the most consistent bite has been off Palm Beach County, from Jupiter to Palm Beach, for the guys that are slow trolling live baits. The Spanish sardine showed up just last week, and like clockwork, the kingfish are here as well. You can target those fish on a number 4 wire stinger rig, or Palm Beach triple hook monofilament rig, and a live or dead Spanish sardine, a pilchard, a mullet, or a threadfin. The biggest fish are going to come on big baits like a goggle eye or a blue runner or a ladyfish. Even a juvenile bluefish will work. Average king's going to be 12 to 25 pounds, but I saw them to 42 pounds so far this week. And then over the last 3 or 4 years, the mutton snapper fishing has really come back strong with good numbers and some just huge fish showing up in the local mutton snapper population. You can catch your muttons throughout the entire East region. Best fishing by far is going to be on the southern end, either around the Loran Tower Ledge or on that 100-foot reef off Jupiter, where the kingfish are right now. The muttons will be right under the kings, or straight out of Lake Worth Inlet along the reef. That's another good spot. There's also a good bite on the older wrecks in St. Lucie and Palm Beach County that don't get a lot of pressure. And, mutton snapper like to hold out in the sand, away from the structure, feeding on anything that moves. You can target them with live or dead sardines, cigar minnows, pilchards, but pretty much a live or dead croaker or a grunt plug is the bait that's going to bring those largest fish over the rail. Don't overlook a live crab. That's kind of money on those muttons, and you might get a permit in the mix as well. And then every now and then, so is a whole squid. That'll work on them in a pinch. The average mutton snapper in my region is going to be 4 to 10 pounds, but fish over 20 pounds are common right now.
Nice, Mike. Give me a bass report.
Well, the big fish bite on Lake Okeechobee is really ramped up, and you need at least 30 pounds for a winning stringer in any of the tournaments. The bite shifted to the bluegill beds. I was talking to Captain Scott Martin. He was saying those big post-spawn bass are still in the shallow areas where they were spawning last month, only now they're hungry, and they're feeding on bluegills that moved into those areas to bed, which is kind of nice. It's a topwater bite that goes all day long. You can throw frogs like a green pumpkin-colored bass assassin logger toad, reel it across the grass, or you can pitch walking baits into the holes in the grass. We're also seeing some shad at first light, so look for diving seagulls on the water. Work that with either white spinnerbait or a white swim jig. Right now it's a 20-fish day with a lot of 4 to 8 pound fish in the mix on Okeechobee. And I got a photo there. That's Cameron Marks. He caught that big Lake Okeechobee bass on a live shiner. He's working along the grass on the north end of the lake. He was fishing with Captain Mike Schellen from OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. So Big Lake's got a lot of big fish.
That's a lunker there, Mike. Nice job. Here are the hot spots for the Atlas Jack Plate East region. Jumbo Jack Crevalle to 30 pounds, that's a big jack, along the beaches north and south of the St. Lucie power plant. Use topwater plugs and fly poppers. And then offshore, kingfish in the 90 to 120 foot of water off Jupiter. Use live Spanish sardines, pilchards, goggle eyes, or blue runners on a number 4 Stinger rig.
All right, look alive, my Southeasters, and if you see your Captain Jimbo Thomas on the water this weekend, give him a big ol' happy birthday shout out. Here's the birthday boy with the Casa Vieja Southeast Region report that's going to have you reeling. Let's hear it, Jimbo.
That's right. Thank you, Brie, and hello, everybody. Well, there's no shortage of tarpon here in the Southeast region. We've got resident fish that can be found year-round, and then in February through June, there's a push of migrating tarpon. Now, all of the inlets and their adjoining beaches, those are tarpon hotspots, as well as the deeper holes and lit bridges of the ICW. Now, their feeding patterns do change throughout the season, and right now a silver dollar-sized live crab is the bait of choice. Then in the winter months, when the shrimp are running, a live shrimp is going to work the best. Other popular baits are live pinfish and mullet, topwater and surface swimming lures such as Rapala magnums, jigs, soft plastics, and flies. Now, you want to use 12 to 20 pound test when fishing for tarpon with a 60 to 80 pound fluoro leader, and use a circle hook when you're using live bait. And then in the inlets and around the bridges, the best tarpon fishing is going to be early in the morning and then late in the afternoon into the evening. And in the inlets, look for color changes or tide lines or rolling fish or marks on your depth machine, then drift your baits through that area. In the inlets, any tide can be good as long as that water is moving. Then if you're fishing around the bridges, the fish will usually be feeding along the shadow lines on the outgoing tide. Now, this is also the time of the year that schools of migrating tarpon can be found on the oceanside flats from Government Cut south to Angelfish Creek. They can be baited with live crabs or with fly fishing tackle using crab pattern flies. The average size tarpon in the Southeast region is in the 40 to 80 pound range, but 100-pound fish are not uncommon at all. Now, not going too far from those tarpon, there's been some good snook fishing going on in the inlets and around the lit bridges and docks of the ICW. Most of the bites are going to be on the live baits. Herring and pinfish are favorites, or whatever bait is the most abundant in your area. You want to drift the jetties and ledges of those inlets using a Jupiter rig. The best fishing is going to be in the evenings and preferably on the outgoing tide. If there's no live bait on board, try bouncing flare hawk jigs along the bottom or trolling Rapala magnums, and red head and white body seems to work really good for those snook. Then around the bridges and lit docks, drift the live baits or work artificials through the shadow lines on the outgoing tide. Now, moving offshore, as of May 1st, grouper season is open. There should be plenty of hungry black gag and red grouper waiting to be caught. One of the best ways to put some grouper in the box is by trolling over the main reefs and patch reefs in 15 to 30 feet of water using Rapala magnums, or with a double hook ballyhoo or bonita strip on a long leader behind a number 2 planer. Now, with the lures, try trolling at around 4 knots, but if you go any faster, they won't pull right. But with the planer, you can go a little bit faster, cover some more ground. Now, I wouldn't go with anything less than 50-pound tackle. You need to have some stout tackle to pull these fish off the reef. Otherwise, they're going to rock you up. Now, out in the deeper water, black and gag groupers can be found on good reef bottom and wrecks in the 90 to 250-foot range. You want to use live baits, live pinfish, blue runners, or speedos. Those are all great bait choices. Or you can use a jig and ballyhoo combo or butterfly jigs. And if the current is light, anchor up close to the structure that allows you to lay the bait right on the bottom. That gives any grouper time to think about eating that bait. Otherwise, drift over the structure. On the reefs, the sizes are in the 8 to 15-pound range, and out in the deeper water, most of those fish are going to be 15 to 20 pounds. I got a photo here of a 30-pound black grouper that we caught off Key Biscayne last weekend. Unfortunately, it was out of season, so we had to let him go, but I'm going to go catch him when this wind calms down. Now, fishing for blackfin tunas has been getting better by the day. Tunas have been hitting live baits, herrings and pilchards and sardines. You want to fish them under the kite or flatline them in 120 to 200 feet of water. Most of the tunas have been in the 20 to 30 pound range. We've been getting them on 20-pound tackle with 40-pound fluoro leaders and 5/0 to 6/0 circle hooks. Now, these fish have been biting throughout the day, but first thing in the morning and then late in the afternoon just before dark, or if it's overcast, that's where they're going to bite the best. We've been struggling for bait down here lately, but if you can find enough bait to live chum with, shouldn't be any problem get some of these nice tunas. Got another photo here. We fished late last Saturday afternoon, and it paid off for us with this 30-pound blackfin caught by Jane.
Nice fish there, Jimbo. Let's talk about your hot spots for the southeast region. Inshore, look for nighttime tarpon and snook using live or artificial baits in your local inlet. And offshore, fish live baits in 100 to 200 feet of water for a mixed bag of mahi, sailfish, blackfin tuna, and kingfish.
Okay, we're almost there, guys. Coming up, we're headed to the Central East region, but we also have our new products guru, Dave Ferrell, at the CCA Workbench. What you got for us today, Dave?
High quality stuff. That's what we got.
That's not a knife.
High quality German steel. That's what we're going to have. So,
all right,
well,
well,
that's pretty, isn't it?
I'm liking what you're putting down, Dave, but don't go away because there's more to come from Key Largo, and you won't want to miss what's being cooked up by the fish house. And guys, I can smell it from here. It smells pretty good. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore four-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 four-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yeah? Stop working right now! Look outside. Is this spreadsheet weather? No, it's not. This is fishing weather. So stop clicking, get out there, and catch a bass. Stop what you're doing and start fishing Rapala ripstop.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Stop by today and see our great selection for yourself. Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less.
Well, here we are, brother.
We've got some new products.
Yeah, man, always. We don't have a whole lot, but we have very
Some
high
shiny
quality
ones,
ones.
though.
Yes,
Some
sir.
very shiny ones.
To start off with that, we're going to talk about the Rhineland Cutlery. That's their 7-inch fillet knife, and it looks very nice.
It's a very pretty knife.
Looks as sharp as it is, probably. It's got it's got a very flexible blade, nice wood handle. It's got 7 layers of surgical steel, German surgical steel, so it's incredibly sharp, and it really fits nicely in your hand. It's got a limited lifetime warranty. Comes with that nice little sheath there.
And a nice box.
And a very nice box.
It's a nice box.
So, when you're getting a knife like that, I guess you want to show it off a little.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that's a pretty knife. It's one of the prettiest fillet knives I've seen.
Yep, that's
nice.
Rhineland Cutlery. That's the one where you're going to be cutting your wafer thin pieces of smoked salmon or something during the party.
Presenting it.
Yeah, you're not going to have that in the back of the boat probably. But anyway, it's very nice.
That is nice.
The next thing we have here, because we had that nice sharp knife, you want to keep a knife sharp, you want to use a good sharpener, and this kind of takes all this kind of takes all the guesswork out of it.
It's simple to use and it works.
Yeah, my father thinks he can sharpen a knife on a whetstone, but he usually gives it to me. It looks like an alligator has chewed it up. But with one of these, it's just a straightforward. You draw it through the ceramic or the more coarse grinded rods, and it goes straight down the middle, and it does a perfect job. You can't hardly mess it up.
You can't.
If you run it 10 times through the through the hard guides, then you turn it over and run it 10 times through the soft ones. It doesn't matter what kind of knife you have, it's going to be really nice and sharp when you get it back.
And this thing, you can stick it anywhere. It can be in your pocket while you're fishing.
Exactly, and it doesn't rust or anything else. So, the Rapala 2-stage knife sharpener. All right, and then last here, we've got, this is a cool little product. It's called the Standby. And what this thing is supposed to do is it takes the place of one of your cup holders in your car or in your boat or even out on the sand, but it allows you to have a cup holder and a phone holder at the same time. If you're like me, I have a nice Chevy truck and I put my thing in there, and when I'm driving down the road, if I have a cup in the cup holder, I can't put my phone anywhere around it. The condensation falls on. I don't have a cover on my phone. Condensation falls on it, or I set it outside and I hit the brakes and my phone goes shooting around.
I did that today.
Exactly. I'm always digging around in the bottom trying to find my phone. But with the Standby, you can set it right in there and it stays there. It comes with a little sand spike even. So if you're out in the sand or on the beach, you're always trying to find a place to put your phone. We usually put it in a towel. I go up and I pick the towel. My phone goes flipping through the air and lands in the hot sand. So this thing will get you out of that too. And it comes with these nice little foam things, so it makes it fits right into a large cup holder in the car if you have those kind. And it also comes with a bottom, so if you want to just lay it on the desk
and
or
different
whatever.
Colors.
Yeah, different colors, and it'll fit a wide variety of phones and size of drinks. Standby.com.
Thanks, Dave.
So we're standing by to stand by.
Bree,
wow.
Is the pink one for the baby?
I'm actually, yes, I'm taking one.
She's getting one.
But that was quite an invention. I'm going to definitely use that. All right, the always smiling Captain Jim Ross is now on the line from the Bell's Central East region with your Tarpon report that's going to put a smile on you. Let's hear it, Jim.
Well, let's hope it does, because it's been a pretty good week this past week for tarpon in the Central East region. We've had a lot of juvenile fish in the 10 to 40 pound range showing up all in the creeks and residential canals through the south portion of the lagoon system. And then, of course, the nearshore waters from Sebastian all the way to Ponce. Any of those inlets are doing really good right now. Now, obviously, you want to look for the areas where the tarpon are rolling, because that's going to give their location away. Try and get your boat up current of the fish, if at all possible, so that you're not casting over them. And try to determine which way they're traveling if you're out on the beach. That way you can just let your baits just drift through them. Now, as we progress through summer, the adult fish in the 80 to 150 pound range are going to replace these smaller fish, but we've been catching them pretty good the last few weeks. And I've got a picture here, one of my recent customers that got one of those nice little juvenile beach tarpon. It's a pretty cool little fish.
There's that
Lots
smile.
of fun to have.
Hey, looking good there, Jim. Looking good,
tackle,
man.
that's for sure. And then offshore, continuing offshore, the dolphin bite has been pretty good. We touched on this last week and said the dolphin bite was getting better. Well, the dolphin bite has gotten better once again when anglers can get out. Anywhere from about 120 to 500 foot. It's down to the south, 120, up to the north. Middle section is going to be 250, 300. Up to the north section is going to be that 500 foot. You're going to be skirted or naked ballyhoos are working best right now. And good colors are green and yellow and blue and white. They seem to be two of the better ones that the dolphin are picking up right now. Look for weeds, rips, temperature changes, that sort of thing. That's where the dolphin are going to hang out. And anywhere where you find flying fish or sardines, those are also good places. Most of the dolphin this week, Tommy, have been running 5 to 12 pounds, but some of them have been scaling into the 20-pound class. Now, Jason Sparkman and his wife Nicole sent me a photo of a really nice 28-pound bull they caught on a rip in 550 feet of water outside Port Canaveral on their boat, the Narcoossee style. Now, check this out, Tommy. They're fishing a 72 to 76-degree temperature break out there, 4-degree temperature break. That is insane.
Yeah, that's a good thing to find.
And I'm telling you, as you find bull dolphin like this one right here. Well, swinging inshore, guys. Snook, all three inlets right now are holding good-sized snook. Live croakers, pinfish, pilchards, and shrimp are even working during the daytime, and then your X-Wrap lures in your size 12 or 14. The silverback and greenback seem to be working best at night. Outgoing tides seem to be working better right now than incoming tides at those inlets. And remember, the snook are starting to fall in that slot limit. We're getting some pretty good slot-sized fish, so you can invite them home for dinner. Now, redfishes are, I've got a picture of a snook, one of the ones that we caught right there out of Canaveral here this past week.
It's a good fish,
And
Jim.
then redfish are our last species, and there's been some big bulls running around right now, especially along the inlet and the beach. My son, Captain Justin Ross, at FineLineFishingCharters.com, reported that casting live shrimp through the schools is getting his guys hooked up, and he's been doing really good on them this week. The Saltwater Assassin Pro Elite Series jig heads in the quarter-ounce or half-ounce size. He's running those shrimp just like they were a live shrimp or like a plastic shrimp, just running it right through there and working that live shrimp right through those schools, and he's doing really good. Pinfish and croakers are also working well on the days that the shrimp aren't working, and you can find those fish in the 40 to 45-inch range on a regular basis. And I've got a picture here of Corey and Timmy Rosser, who was out with Captain Justin Ross just this past weekend and did pretty darn good on some big redfish.
Yeah, that looks like fun there, Jim. Thanks, Jim. Here are the area, the sea sucker hotspots for the Central East region. Offshore, dolphin and sailfish on the western edge of the Gulf Stream. Troll naked ballyhoo along rips and weed lines for fish in the 30-pound range. And inshore, snook at the inlets. Use live baits like shrimp, croakers, or pinfish on a jig head or a standard bottom rig.
Okay, Tommy, next we'll check in with our northeast and northwest regions, but we're also going back down to the Keys to see what the Fish House has prepared, and I'm sure it's delicious. And don't forget, if you want to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, all you have to do is visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and view and tag us on Instagram. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
And this month, it's invoice pricing for everyone.
That's right, you pay what we pay.
Get a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan for only $26,500.
No games, no gimmicks, just hassle-free buying at low, low, low prices.
Check us out now at HarborTrucks.com and enter to win a 2018 Nissan Titan XD 4x4 diesel.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Volvo equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Volvo, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Volvo sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Push boundaries with Volvo. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations, or visit us on the web at www.flaglerce.com.
Welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and we're here in Key Largo at the Ocean Point Suites. And with me is Phil and Jose from the Fish House Restaurant and Seafood Market. You know, Phil, we come to the Florida Keys simply for fishing and great food, and your restaurant is certainly one of the most popular in Key Largo. So welcome to the show, but more importantly, let's talk about your family's traditions and certainly some of the great recipes. What do we got going on here tonight?
Oh, tonight we've got a tropical tuna poke. We've got some fresh local tuna. We've got mango pineapple. We've got some soy sauce, sesame oil, crushed red pepper, scallions, some fresh ginger, and then some garnish with macadamia nuts and sesame seeds.
So Jose, let's just go ahead and get right into it. How are we going to mix this up? So we're going to take the tuna. Is this blackfin, Phil, or yellowfin tuna?
It's blackfin.
Locally caught right here on the humps. Certainly, we've got the humps down in Marathon, and we got the humps right here off of Isla Mirada. You can certainly catch them in the deep water. I've done it many times with our captain, Randy Tao. What else are we adding here?
That's the soy sauce.
Soy sauce, mango.
Mango, pineapple.
Pineapple. What is this?
That's sesame oil.
Sesame oil.
And some scallions going in there.
Oh man, I'm starting to salivate.
Crushed red pepper.
Crushed red pepper.
Fresh ginger. Now he's going to mix it up.
Mixing. Now, I want to ask you, Phil, is it important to have the tuna at a certain temperature before you get started, or the mango? Do you like it cold? Do you like it room temperature?
Preferably colder. I like it colder.
You like it colder?
I like it colder.
Is that a personal preference?
That's a personal preference.
So it can go either way?
It can go either way. It can go warm. Actually, it'll absorb the flavors a little bit more if it's warmer.
All right, and so these are what kind of, you guys make these? Or
that's a flatbread.
A flatbread.
Fried flatbread.
I like it. So while Jose's putting on the finishing touches, Phil, tell me a little bit about some of the most popular dishes that you serve at the Fish House restaurant.
Oh, well, we've got our matacumbi preparation, which we created.
Tell me, what is matacumbi?
Matacumbi, well, initially Matacumbi is the island south of us, Upper Lower Matacumbi, named after that. It's tomatoes, capers, basil, olive oil, lemon juice, shallots.
So we can go in with, maybe I catch a yellowtail and I can bring you my yellowtail, or you serve yellowtail and I can get it with different toppings like the matacumbi?
Absolutely, absolutely. A popular way to do it is family style. Bring in a bunch of fish. We'll prepare several different preparations to try. We've got about 7 different signature preparations which we can do.
Well, I'm going to tell you, after this, Jose, I know that you really spent some time thinking about this recipe. I appreciate you very much. You did your homework. Tuna is one of my favorite species to eat, especially sushi style. So while we toss this back to the studio in North Miami, you and I and Phil are going to enjoy some of the Florida Keys' finest recipes. Thank you so much.
Let's hit it.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose, for being here. Let's do this. Nice. Back to you, Brie.
Well, I'm standing here because I can't have sushi right now.
He was rubbing it in.
He was.
He was rubbing it
just shoving it in his mouth. And back to you in the studio. We don't have tuna here. Anyway, that looked pretty good.
It looked really good.
That looked really good. All right. A few months to go. I can do that.
All
right. Well, we are lucky to have your Strike Zone Northeast Region Captain Tommy Derringer actually in the flesh. So why don't you give us your report if you're ready?
Well, you know what, Brie? I definitely get obsessed over tarpon this time of year as they start to show up in the Strike Zone Northeast region. It does need to warm up just a little bit before our big migrating fish start to show up. And we have a great tarpon fishery here all summer long and into the early fall months. In the summer, we get the pogies on the beach and then the mullet run during the fall. One of my favorite ways to catch tarpon here is to fish behind the shrimp boats. When the shrimpers dump their bycatch, you're gonna find tarpon, a lot of tarpon behind those shrimp boats, sometimes in a serious feeding frenzy. It's one of the few ways you can sight fish tarpon in my region. Now you can also fish for tarpon around the pogie pods along the beach. I like to use a 7 to 10-aught VMC circle hook, depending on the bait size, and free line or float a live pogie around those bait pods. You can also fish bait under the pogie pods like we talked about at the workbench. You just use enough weight to get the bait to the bottom. Sometimes that's where you're going to get most of the bites. And we have some huge tarpon here in the 150-pound plus range, and the average beach fish is going to be somewhere around 60 to 100 pounds. We also have a good population of smaller tarpon around right now in the Flagler Beach and Palm Coast canals. A big live shrimp or mud minnow or finger mullet under a float is going to work well for those smaller tarpoons, as we call them. Speaking of little tarpoons, I've got a picture here. This is Gene, the tarpon catching machine, with a nice little tarpon he caught with me recently in the Palm Coast Canal system.
Very nice.
Now, staying inshore, you know, there's a really good trout bite happening throughout the region. This weekend, we're gonna have the last hour or two of outgoing tide at first light, and that's a perfect time to toss either a topwater or a subsurface plug along the ICW for a big gator trout. Target runouts and smaller creek mouths along the ICW from the airport basin to Pine Island in St. Augustine. I also spoke to Captain Matt Chipperfield from Chips Coastal Charters, and he's been catching some huge gator trout this spring in the Guana Preserve. Now, Matt said the trout in the preserve are in pre-spawn, and they are readily eating topwater flies and a gurgler or any kind of surface popper. Matt says he's had his clients working those flies very slow over potholes and shallow oyster bars as the water's still pretty muddy from the recent rain and winds we've had. Now, Matt sent me a picture. This is Jay Wright, who actually holds multiple world records for sea trout. With a thick 27-inch trout, he caught him fly with Captain Matt in the Guana Preserve.
Look at that picture. You're good at taking pictures, Tommy.
Well, thank you.
Hey, what you got offshore for us? I'm going to play Rick for a second.
Well, you know, tuna. Everybody's talking about tuna tonight. We've had a great blackfin tuna bite going on for the last couple of weeks, and it continues to be great. You know, I've had lots of reports of the blackfins. They're really big. They're 20 to 25 pounds right now. Look for those tuna right along the ledge, holding around bait and structure. Naked ballyhoo and cedar plugs trolled way back is going to be the best technique. And then also offshore, you know, grouper season just opened up and everybody's getting excited to get out there and catch a few. The reports I've been getting from the offshore guys, the grouper fishing is going to be great this year. The water stayed a little colder up north, making the grouper stick around in bigger numbers. Most of those bigger fish are coming from 150 foot and deeper, but there are some nice ones in shallower as well. You can get, if you can get through those swarms of red snapper. The red snapper are crazy. They're all over the place. Live pinfish or grunts, or even a whole Boston mackerel are the baits of choice. Captain Jason Hadges from the J-Hook told me he likes using that big whole Boston mackerel for bait because he leaves it down there and lets the little fish kind of peck at that. It kind of acts as a chum bag down on the bottom. Those grouper are running anywhere from 10 to even 30 pounds. I've got one last picture here. This is Captain Bo Hall and crew from the Mayport Princess with the beauty of a scamp grouper that they caught out of Jacksonville. You can tell Bo's pretty stoked.
Crew.
Yeah, he's got a good crew up there. Those guys run a really tight operation.
All right, you want to give us your hot spots?
I will. So here are the hot spots for the Northeast region. Inshore, trout at first light along the ICW banks throughout the region. Fish a topwater skitter walk at the creek mouths or small runouts where the bait's getting flushed out. And then offshore, a good mixed bag when you're trolling out there, the mahi, tuna, and the wahoo at the ledge east of St. Augustine. And those mahi are starting to get thick out there with this east wind we've been having.
Well, FaceTime can take a back seat. This guy's ready for the big screen.
You did good. Sure.
I'm ready. He's ready. All right, this guy knows a thing or two about catching some tarpon, taking some pretty cool photos with them in the water, and if you're lucky, you might even get to book a trip with him during season because he's the best. From the Flagler Construction Northwest region, Captain Jeff Hageman has poon catching secrets for you. You're a good photographer too, Tommy.
He's my hero.
I love catching these guys. They're my absolute favorite. It's pretty much been 3 months of the year strictly fishing for them. They're great game fish. They pull like nobody else's business. They got those big jumps and gill rattling head shakes. Give you everything they got, long searing runs, and they can be caught throughout my entire region. Like he was just talking about, we got some small juvenile fish that can be caught pretty much all year round in residential canals. We have some springs on our coast. They can be found in those too. But the big run is that major migration we get in summer months, and that's when it's the best time to target our big fish. Fishing around bridges, beaches, passes, on the grass flats from April through August. You can catch them on spinning rods. You can catch them on plug rods, throwing plugs at them. Fly gear is another way we target them. Live baits like crabs are one of the favorites. Threadfin herring, pinfish, they're all a great bait. As far as flies go, lemon drops on the beach, cockroach is another great bait, fly, and purple and black over the grass flats. Once the fish get back in the harbor and get in some dirty water, we also throw DOA bait busters. We do that on the beach as well. And the one thing I want to talk to you about is etiquette tarpon fishing. Everybody on the beach, they're running around looking for fish, searching for fish. Make your approach a little quieter. Watch your fellow angler. Make sure you're not running over him or his fish. Once you find your fish, stealthy approach is the best. The more pressure you put on those fish, the less likely they're going to be to bite. So come in slow, put your trolling motor down, push pull. If you don't have either one of those, make long drifts, kind of figure out how the fish are going. They're usually going to run in the same depth when they're on the beach, and they're going to run in a line. So get them that 20 foot, get set up way ahead of them, make your bait presentation really good. Another little technique, tarpon fishing is all about angles. If you get the right angle and the right presentation, the fish aren't pressured, they'll eat. And what I'm talking about angles is you want to get that bait in front of that fish's face in anywhere from that 10:30 to 1 o'clock position. If you get it there and the fish is moving in that direction and the bait's going away from him as he comes to it, you're going to have a better chance of catching him. And I got a photo here of one of my favorite views.
Wow, nice. Looking into the monster. I like it.
Looking down the mouth. Got your hands in his mouth.
Tell me about the redfish, Jeff.
Moving inshore, Captain Billy Davis of Slam Chaser Charters reports a good redfish bite right now in Newport Richey. He's fishing right now around structures such as potholes, mangrove shorelines, spoil islands, and oyster bars. He's using live pilchers, free line on a VMC circle hook, and that's been a strong bite for him. Moving up the coast, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tail Charters out of Plantation on the Crystal River reports a good redfish bite right now on the mangrove shorelines and the Keys from Homosassa to Crystal River. He's using select shrimp free-lined under a 3/0 circle hook when the water's high. When the water's a little lower, he's switching over to a DOA cow bait with an 1/8 ounce jig head, and he's using that on low water around the outside of the mangrove root system. The fish right now have been ranging anywhere from 18 inches all the way up to some big 36-inch bulls. Moving a little further north, Captain Jimbo Keith of Saltwater Fishing out of Cedar Key reports a good redfish bite. Right now it's been okay. Oversized fish, and he's catching them on live shrimp. He's working on the incoming tide and the first part of the outgoing tide. Moving all the way up to the end of my region, Captain John Lane of JB Charters out of Apalachicola Bay reports a good bull redfish bite right now around the passes and oyster bars at the end of the incoming tide and beginning of the outgoing tide. He's using live or fresh dead shrimp under 3/0 circle hook with 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leader. Fish right now are averaging anywhere from 15 to 25 inches, or excuse me, 25 pounds. And I've got a bunch of photos there of some nice West Coast redfish.
Happy customers.
Yeah, they look happy.
Yeah.
Tell me about offshore, Jeff.
Offshore's heating up right now. It's really the time of year you need to be on the water. Everything's going crazy. The kingfish, the cobia, the permit are going to be on your nearshore, inshore reefs. The blackfin tuna will be on those deeper reefs and wrecks and hard rock bottoms. The gag grouper, mangrove, red snapper, and mangrove bites will be on those rock piles and ledges out there deep. This is a good time of year to be on the water, and you need to be out there right now because the bite is on.
Thanks, Jeff. Here are the hot spots for the Northwest region. Inshore, snook showing up on the beaches and passes. Use sardines for bait. And offshore, grouper over rock piles and ledges in 55 to 85 feet of water. Use a pinfish for bait.
Yeah, and let me tell you from experience, he'll blast the music really loud and then he'll shut it off and he'll do his little sneaky mode, stealth mode. He's good at it.
Yeah, he is.
All right, if you're in the Panhandle region, don't worry. We didn't forget about you. We're headed your way next, right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Tarpon time.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. Always use the best line. The IGFA. Fish for the future. Flagler Construction Equipment, your exclusive Volvo dealer. And Okuma. Inspired fishing.
When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Outside is a bully. There are bears, screaming fleet-footed waters, arrogant mountains, Goliaths, and 100 other excuses to stay inside. But there are ways to deal with bullies.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about what do you do when the water's too deep to touch the bottom? Well, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I look for is how am I going to stop my boat? Now, as you know, some guys use their trolling motor and they lock the boat in position. What I found in tarpon fishing is if the trolling motor's running, most likely I'm not going to be able to get close to the fish that I want to catch because of the movement of the boat, not necessarily the noise. But by using my power poles and looking for something that may be overhanging or submerged, because of the unique designs and the way the poles go out to the side, I use the spike and hook it on something that's submerged. Maybe it's an undercut bank in a creek. For you guys that are bass fishing, you can stick the spike in a bush, and guess what? It will hold you in place. 20 feet of water is not a problem when you have stuff that is coming up to the surface. So keep that in mind. It's a pretty cool secret that I have, and that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week.
Well, thanks, Rick. Next up, we're happy to have our resident captain, Pat Deneen, who's back just in time to give us his Yeti Panhandle Tarpon report. We missed you, Pat.
Hey, miss being here, Brie. I tell you, tarpons are my favorite inshore fish to fish for, and soon they'll be invading the whole Panhandle coastline. They first show up in fishable numbers east of here in the Carabel and Apalachicola area, and that's probably within a week or so from now. And the fish are going to be migrating along our beaches to the west. By late May and early June, the entire Panhandle has tarpon in fishable numbers. And if you're a fly fisherman, Crooked Island over in Bay County and east is the place to be, as the fish regularly swim up in shallow water, 10 foot or less. Most or many of my charters are spin fishermen, and we sight cast to the schools of fish using heavy spinning tackle baited with live herrings or cigar minnows or unweighted soft plastics. And then also, if you don't have a boat, Okaloosa Island Pier is a really good place to tarpon fish. It's not uncommon for multiple anglers to hook up out of a school as the school swims past the pier. The best tarpon bait off the pier, or the one the most often used, is a soft-weighted swim bait slowly retrieved across the surface. And there's a photo there from last season of a cool shot of a tarpon we caught and released off of the South Walton beaches last summer. And all our tarpon are about that size. And then staying inshore, May is the time to find big schools of Jack Crevalle along our beaches. Oftentimes there's 15 to 25 pound fish in schools that often number several hundred fish. And they're moving along the beach, milling many times right in that gully between the first and second sandbars. It's a visual topwater fishery where topwater baits are aggressively attacked. Cast a skitter walk or a popper past the school, and don't walk the dog. Forget that. Just rapidly retrieve it, making it skip across the surface, and watch those jacks bust up on them. If fly fishing is your game, take the hooks off the skitter walk and have your buddy use it as a teaser and tease them within range, and then throw a crease fly. My clients are always amazed at how aggressive these jacks are and how hard they fight. And then moving offshore, speaking of jacks, the amberjacks opened on the 1st of this month, and they're definitely putting knots and tackle to the test. The amberjacks are going to be on those big metal structure and high relief natural bottom in depths ranging from 80 to 400 foot. On the shallower spots, you can get away with just free lining and active bait like a hardtail. But on those deeper spots, you want to use a slip sinker rig with a long leader. That way your bait has plenty of freedom of movement. When you hook up, let your other anglers continue to fish. A hooked fish often fires up the bite and the other jacks will stay around the hook fish even if you drift well off of the structure. Our biggest jacks are usually in the deeper federal spots, but a couple of seasons ago, Captain Rainier sent out a Destin. He caught a 90-pounder on a shallow state water wreck. I think it was 80 foot deep, so you never know. And then finally offshore, in the same spots you often find the amberjacks, there's plenty of delicious vermilion, also known as mingo snappers, being caught. It's a completely different technique than jack fishing. To catch the vermilions, use a 2-hook chicken rig baited with cut squid or herrings. Also small 3 to 4 inch live cigar minnows are a great bait. Drop your bait all the way to the bottom, crank it up 5 to 10 cranks. The vermilions are kind of a smaller snapper like the yellowtails down there in the Keys. But if you can find some bigger bull mingos, you're going to have some really nice fillets to eat.
Thanks, Pat. Hey, on those, you call them mingos, right?
Yeah, we call them mingos or beeliners.
Yeah, beeliners, or we call them red eyes by us up in the Northeast region.
I got you. Yeah, I've never heard them called that here.
Different strokes for different folks.
That's right. That's right. All right, Pat, thanks for the report. Here are the blue water outriggers hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, Pompano throughout the Panhandle beaches using set rigs baited with sand fleas or by casting jigs. And offshore, reef donkeys are open and numerous on the wrecks. Fish live hardtails or fast jigs. Reef donkeys, that's another good.
Reef donkeys.
Yeah.
I like using that term too. Well, guys, that was fun and all, but we're out of reports and out of captains, so stay tuned to find out what we're fishing for next week. And we're headed back down to Rick in Key Largo to find out who our contest winner is for the 3-night stay at Ocean Point Suites and a fishing charter with Captain Randy Tao. So hang tight, we'll be right back.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country.
And this month, it's invoice pricing for everyone.
That's right, you pay what we pay.
Get a brand new 2018 Nissan Titan for only $26,500.
No games, no gimmicks, just hassle-free buying at low, low, low prices.
Check us out now at HarborTrucks.com and enter to win a 2018 Nissan Titan XD 4x4 diesel.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster. Now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking about the bass. We're going bass fishing. And Tommy, thanks for keeping me company here in the studio. You're a great host as always, and I have to say I'm going to miss you next week when Rick comes back.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun. Always
it's
fun.
always fun, right?
Yes.
Did you have
Of
Tommy
course.
this year?
Of course.
Of course, of course. Okay.
He's too damn handsome.
He is, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah,
Better than Rick.
I just made him blush.
All right, before we go, we have one more important thing to do, and that is to announce the winner for the Gotta Get Away contest. So let's head down to Key Largo once more and find out who it is. Rick.
So Adrian, you know what? We're here at Ocean Point Suites, and we've got a contest that we've been running, and we actually know who the winner is. But the contest, Randy, was 3 nights, 2 days here at Ocean Point, and a day of fishing with our captain, Randy Tao.
All right.
So Adrian, why don't you announce who this would be?
Absolutely. We're looking forward to hosting Lisa Jenkins from Orlando, Florida.
That's so awesome. Lisa, we'll be contacting you. Thank you for going on to our Facebook page and signing up. It was a really cool contest. There's going to be a whole lot more contests throughout the season. And more importantly, when you come down, Lisa, we want to make sure that Phil gets to see you at Fish House Restaurant, so make sure you go up the road, mile marker 102.3. All right, so I got Phil in the background coaching me through this. But anyway, it's been a great night here down in the Florida Keys and Key Largo. We appreciate everything you guys have done. Sarah, thank you. You did a good job reading the tournaments. Randy, as always, spot on with your reports, and I appreciate you telling everybody how you whooped me at the bridge last week. Whooped. All right, Bree. And anyway, we're going to pass it back to you up in North Miami, and thank you, Tommy, for filling in.
All right, thanks, guys. You did a great job down there.
You think they're having a couple drinky poos down there?
They might be having a couple drinky poos. We need to have a couple drinky poos on set here. What do you say?
Yeah. Shirley Temple for you, maybe?
Shirley Temple, yeah, of course. Well, next week we're talking bass, guys, so that's really exciting.
Well, we're going to actually have a guy come in here and talk a little bit about exotics, like peacock bass and cichlids and all those really cool stuff they got down here.
I caught one of those with Dave last time I was down here. They're fun.
Good fun. All right, well, Tommy, thanks again for being here. Dave, good job as always. We'll see you guys next week, and we hope you enjoyed our special Keys edition of the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Have a good weekend, and we hope you catch a lot of fish. Bye.